It's so lovely to see you, Susan. How are you
It's
doing?
nice to see you in person, virtually.
Yeah, yeah. And how are you doing generally? Are you doing okay?
Very well. We've had a hot summer, as have so many people, but and we can't believe summer's almost over. But
Yes.
we're doing very well.
Good. It's gone really fast, hasn't it, this season?
Mhm.
It's gone a bit
Every
spirally almost,
every year goes by faster. Seriously.
doesn't it? And
Yeah.
and there's a really interesting sort of feeling I'm getting this year, this season that's quite swirly and it feels like a cosmic rebirthing kind of feeling. Um,
I think we have that cosmic rebirthing all the time, and then we just tune into it differently, depending on who we are and what our frequencies are, and things are moving around constantly. And there's always the opportunity for rebirth, I would say.
Yes, yes, a new you, as the marketing people would say, but
A
actually
new you,
there's a lot to it when we're working
right,
on the inner
on the
space.
inner. And we can also say the old you, because one of my big themes is reverse aging. And I'm in the elder years, and I was inspired by my mother who died at 102, and watching older people just get more frail and more frail, that, sometimes getting to the older who we were when we were younger and stronger. That's really kind of what I'm looking towards. So
Mm,
it's just, continual, it's just being present. Seriously, just being present in the moment, doing the best you can with what you have, where you are, to quote
yes.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Yes, that's really beautiful actually. And I just want to say firstly, welcome to you to Discovering Dowsing. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, it's really lovely to connect because I think we've seen each other probably on different Zooms for dowsing communities like the Earth Energies group, and then we recently more closely met at the Scottish Dowsers
Right,
sort of meetings
right,
online. So it's so lovely. You've been around on the dowsing scene. I've seen your picture and
right.
articles, and obviously you've been an amazing author of all things dowsing as well.
Well, it's been my journey. So I've written 9 books, I think, and I have all my coursework and everything is on YouTube as like very inexpensive rental workshops.
Brilliant.
And in the early days before we had Zoom, I would travel physically to various countries, and I've been to the British Society a couple of times and
Mm,
been there in various places. And it was always my intention. I always say, learn from the oldest person there is, because that's your opportunity to get the most experience. And of course, we want to learn from the younger people as well, because the fresh ideas are always good. But
yeah.
since we have Zoom, since COVID times, in the last 5 years, Zoom is now just the easiest thing. We can be here in our pajamas if we wanted to be, and it's just easy to communicate with people. I feel very connected with many people.
Absolutely. And the energy, when I've seen from your work, you've delved deep into the energetic and spiritual and psychic and sort of non-visible space, as well as, checking in with the physical and emotional side. And
Right.
it it's amazing what can be transferred energetically on a phone call, on a Zoom
Hmm.
space, there's all sorts of things and there's no separation truly.
No, I totally agree. In my opinion, everything is electromagnetic, and electromagnetic fluctuations. That's how we're reading things. The Zoom, the phone calls, the TV, the old video cameras,
Mm.
um, and now Zoom. It's simply electromagnetic frequencies vibrating back and forth, and we kind of forget we're not actually together. I find.
Yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you mentioned in your book, I'm just going to hold this up because I
Oh,
am
good.
so in awe of this book. I
Thank
am
you.
so grateful I got it. I cannot
Thank you.
believe, well, I can believe because I think from what I'm picking up, you're a very generous spirited person, Susan, with your gifts that you're willing and your talents, willing to share them with others. Because I have
Absolutely.
seen people, when they spend time and effort developing a protocol, they can be a bit guarded about that sometimes. And
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
understand that too, because it's a bit like intellectual property, right? But you
Totally.
are so generous with the gifts of your protocols and how you share them with us in this book. It's an
Hmm.
incredible tome, and I know you've done other ones as well. So,
Hmm.
wow, it's just,
Thank you.
what you can do with this is incredible. It's limitless, really.
Thank you. It is limitless, and that was the last book I wrote. And I don't need to write another one because everything is in there. But my first teachers, when I first learned to dowse in 1999, something like that,
Mm.
that my teachers were so generous as well. They would give us everything, and that became my template to just share what you know.
Yes.
And honestly, in the sharing, and this will come up as we talk, and some people may know, but I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was 29. I was crippled. My hands were claws for 23 years. They didn't open or close. I was on all the big drugs,
Wow.
and I tried everything. Finally, the short story on this is I asked for the physical health and financial resources so I could do my mission. And my mission is to share this information as much as possible. So in service, I say if you want to heal yourself, be in service to other people. And then that's a full circle of healing.
Oh,
There's a native expression, heal me if there's anything wrong and give me the wisdom to share. And that's kind of a really nice summing up of my thoughts on that. Heal me if there's anything wrong. Not saying there's anything wrong, but if there is, heal me and give me the wisdom so I can share it out. So
mm.
that's my motto. That's what I do.
That reminds me, thank you, Susan. That reminds me of the cycle and the rhythms of nature. That
Right.
you receive and you restore in a season, and then you expand and share the pollen, share the seeds.
Right.
Upwards and
Right.
outwards. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, and I wonder if we can maybe touch on, because you've been on such an incredible healing journey, and something that really struck me in your book is,
Hmm.
is about your soul mission,
Right. Exactly.
and that you differentiate in the book between the soul mission and almost like your embodied, like, human
Yeah.
mission, your
Yeah.
earth template
I
mission,
do
as well
call it
as
the Earth mission. It's
yeah,
the mission we have in these meat bags, right? Like we're here in this incarnation in a
yeah,
little meat bag. And and our mission as humans is to be kind to each other, to look after ourselves, look after our families, just be good people. But in my opinion, we reincarnate. We come around and around and around. And many of us carry a soul mission through many lifetimes. And if we can figure out what our soul mission is, then the universe will align with us. And generally, it's a service mission. We align with the divine, and then they support us. Like what I'm doing, honestly, and this may come up, but after being crippled for so many years, being in rehab for 40 years, I'm
wow,
setting world records, physical world records in this little human body, on at the gym, on the rowing machine, and on various gym equipment. And
mm,
it's a real testament to the mind-body connection,
isn't it?
because there's no way this physical body should be able to do these things. But it's the mind-body connection. And the mission also, in my later years, is to demonstrate what aging can look like. It
Mm,
doesn't mean, oh, I'm so old now, I can't do this and that.
yeah.
It's the commitment that when we're 102 to still be able to take out the garbage or whatever it is.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy to share a very similar sort of set of patterns here, Susan, with you. My beloved grandmother, she lived hale and hearty as a life independently until 106 years old.
Wow. Well
And
done.
I saw when you shared a picture of your mother, and you could see the radiance and the light coming through, the beneficence, the sort of inner smile inside, the warmth that you create internally.
And that was her picture at 102.
Amazing. And if you
Yeah.
saw my lovely Nana, you would see that same, um, you know, it's just the strength as well as the will to live. There's that sort of inner strength and resilience, and
Yeah.
it defied logic, it in terms of lots of other people's experience, and keeping things simple,
Hmm.
and being grateful and saying thank you in terms of blessings and or prayers, these kinds of things, like you're saying, the mind body connection. What do I believe myself to be capable of today in this
Hmm.
suit right now? And
Hmm.
how might my mindset, my belief systems that are based on my values and the experiences I've lived through, how might they be helping me or inhibiting me? How can I look at that neutrally? And I guess, my father, he's 89, and he's in the top 5 in the world for rowing on the Concept 2 rowers as well, and he keeps
Really?
competing with himself. Yeah, so when you said that, it rung a lot of bells.
All
I know
right.
what
All
going
right.
through an ergo, with the competition against your own sort of spirit, almost of like, yes, I can do this. It's a
Well,
really
well,
big mental thing, isn't it?
it's against yourself, but tell your dad there are world championships, and it's factored for age. So I came first in a world championship for
Yes.
my age on the concept too. So
He,
tell him to get on that, because it's very satisfying.
isn't it?
Because you think, oh yeah, I'm doing well and I'm doing the best I can, but then you get out there on a world stage and do it. And what I found, the secret of doing well, you get old enough, you pick an obscure sport, and then you can do very well. Yeah, yeah, that's very. And what I was going to say about our mothers, or your grandmother and my mother, is
Yeah.
that in that generation of women, they went through, and men also, they went through wars, they went through depression, and I
Mm,
think in those early days, they must have learned resilience
definitely.
and overcame their despair and their fear and all the rest of it, and that carried them on. The people who die young, they sometimes just give up. It's like I don't have I don't have the tools. I don't have the help. There's
Mm,
people say there's nobody here to help me. We're the only ones who can help ourselves. We can't wait. The Zuni, I guess. And there's a native group that says we are the people we've been waiting for. So you can't wait for anybody else. The Hopi,
absolutely.
that's Hopi, the Hopi.
Yes.
It's a we are the people
Yes.
we've been waiting for.
Absolutely. And when I'm working with my clients on a similar note, it's talking about you are the architect of your own life.
Exactly.
And how is your inner architecture sited? How much space do you have inside? How do you cultivate that and support it so that you can have that, almost like that little bit of perspective and separation from the experience that we're, experiencing? Can we witness it a bit more rather than
That's
just stuck in it?
yeah, yeah.
Because
We are not the experience. We observe the experience.
exactly.
And it's a bit hard to stay fully human when we are the observer of the experience, and we don't get. I call it compassionate detachment.
Mm,
Then on the Earth mission side, when we're in with our families, and we're a little bit out. Sometimes we're a little bit emotionally removed from the circumstance. So it's a real fine balance to witness the pain,
mm,
not to go into the pain, but to, we can't help anybody. If we're in pain and if we're weak, we can't help anybody else.
yeah.
So that's the hardest thing about balancing the Earth and soul missions.
It is, that's a real fine balance to
Yeah.
navigate. And I guess from what you've just touched on as well, it's if there is what people sometimes call or get embroiled in a drama triangle, let's
Oh
say,
yeah.
quite often in families as well, power, the sort of persecute, victim, and rescue sort of triad. Um, if we're the witness outside of that drama triangle, but you can still feel compassion for the person that's on the receiving end of whatever, or
Yeah.
rushing to rescue but not realizing their boundaries aren't quite intact. And
They're truly in pain.
mm,
The thing with, I've found, in my opinion, we say in my opinion a lot,
mm,
people who bully have been bullied. So if you can help the bully heal their own pain,
mm,
then they will be able to share a more compassionate experience with people too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And when we weave dowsing into all of this, you know, it's just such an incredible resource and tool to
Hmm.
help us with our direction of travel. and getting clarity on the nuances of either decision making or the inner inquiry that we're doing, or, even, I mean, amazingly, reversing aging. I mean, gosh. Do you want
Yeah.
to talk about that a little bit? Because, I think it's such a fascinating subject, and just even an example of, things we hear people say, oh, I can't read up close anymore. It's because I'm aging. Is it? Is it truly? Or is it a belief that just because, you're past a certain point, your eyes are deep by default going to deteriorate? Is that really true? How do you navigate this whole space? Because I've never heard of it with dowsing before, and it's really exciting.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
First off, I say I'm not a medical practitioner. I don't have
Yeah.
a medical license. And for my clients, I always say, take your children to the doctor, take your cows to the vet. And I have clients in Japan. One of them wrote once and said, my dog is dying. Can you save my dog? I'm in Canada, so it's not magic, and nobody can fix anybody else. We're the only ones who can fix ourselves.
Mm.
One of my colleagues wore glasses most of her life, and she finally got them off in her 70s, 60s, 70s, somewhere in there. And it was a belief system she had about God. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but
Mm.
she shifted her belief system about God. And then she didn't wear glasses again. And then she got older and she started wearing them again. But all her life, no glasses.
Wow.
People sometimes, we talk about the blueprint we came in with. I don't, if that's a familiar term, where when we're born, we have we have our genetics, we have our epigenetics, and we have this blueprint that we come in with.
Mm.
And I've heard people ask when they're trying their self-healing, they ask to restore the blueprint, their authentic blueprint they came in with. The problem with that is if you come in with a faulty blueprint, you're restoring yourself to a faulty state. So we ask to create most appropriate, I use that term a lot, most appropriate blueprint, so that I always say I, say your own name, so that I experience perfect health. Not that I am healthy, but that I have the experience of perfect health in all aspects of my being: physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, energetic.
Mm.
So that's one aspect. And when I'm at the gym, I'm combining the mind-body thing. On the rowing machine, uh, you're pushing out with your feet.
Yeah.
And I use metaphors like, how do you convince your body to perform at a superhuman level, if you
Mm.
will, or when you're older, to perform the way you did when you were younger. So one of the body metaphors I would use is that the terracotta warriors in China, if you're
Yeah.
familiar with them,
Yeah.
they have the biggest, flattest clay feet. And I would ask to have the energy of those big, fat feet coming out. Lately I've decided that they're not the perfect metaphor, A, because their knees don't bend so much.
Oh.
So, and they're strong, but they're in armor. So I thought, just the other day, I thought, what's the better metaphor for me to perform more strongly on the rowing machine? And the Viking warriors came in. They are rowers. And my
Yes.
trainer said, oh, like you're being attacked. And I said, no, no, like I'm attacking, right?
Yes.
We're always the strongest ones, whether we're whatever. It's finding the personal metaphor, cultural, spiritual, whatever,
Mm.
that you can embody and find that strength, because it's beyond human strength. You're bringing in embodied strength.
I love that, Susan, because what you're reminding me of is when we use visual symbols in the form of metaphor or, archetypal
Right,
energies,
right.
we're speaking the language of the soul and
Hmm.
the subconscious mind. So we're doing that deeper level programming rather than just the conscious mind telling itself, oh, do a thing. We're
Yeah,
going full embodied. We're just going down to
right.
the roots and beyond.
Because the brain is saying, I don't even want to go to the gym. I don't want to do that. I don't want to work that hard. Oh, I don't want to go. And then there's we're in warrior mode, whatever it is,
Yeah.
or I think for me it's warrior mode.
Yeah.
For
That's
other
so
people
empowering.
might be monk mode or something. But I see myself as an energetic defender, actually.
Interesting.
There's the guardians of the planet. There's the grids around the planet, and there are like-minded spirits that come together electromagnetically, and we are literally the guardians of our space.
Beautiful. I love that. And you've just got me thinking in a completely different way about exercise. Because I'm
Good.
I'm I'm thinking, can I say to myself, Alex, are you ready to be a Viking warrior and row the heck out of life today? You
It's
can just
it's not even
wow,
that you say. It's not, am I ready? You just say,
I am.
today I am a Viking warrior, right? There's Yoda. There's no try. There's only do. Because we're never ready to go and work that hard. Would there's so much in the other realms. I know many people have experiences they can't explain that make them feel uncomfortable, and they go into a state of emotional fear, and there's no power. There's no power in fear.
Mm-mm.
It's like today, on behalf of in service, today, and one of my teachers would taught me to say, for the sake of the children. For the sake of the children, I will be strong. And it's not just my children, it's for the planet. For the sake of the children, I am strong. And he would say also, this is Many Horses, who's been gone a few years,
Mm.
leave beautiful footsteps for the children to follow.
Oh,
So this is how we have to walk. The Navajo say walk in beauty. So if we can do that 24/7, we can be the exemplars of for the children, for the next generation to come into.
yes. That feels so gently magical, Susan. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for sharing that with us. It's really beautiful. I mean, gosh, it's just this sense I get of your work and your journey. It's just so powerfully strong yet very expansive. You can share with us such deep knowledge of different realms.
Hmm.
Even the question in your book I showed earlier was just about, is there anything in the future
Oh,
affecting
right.
me now? That
Oh,
is
yeah.
not something I've really doused before, and it was a real, oh,
It's a shocker.
there
Yeah.
is.
We look at this
Hey.
life, we look at past life. There's future life, and honestly, in the decade I've been looking at future life, I have, I think, never found a future life influence that was actually beneficial for today. Our future selves, I don't know what's going on there. We can resolve the past, and that's an excellent thing to do. But the future, they're just kind of messing with us.
It's bizarre. Yeah, because I had something come up when I went through your book, and it was a
Okay, okay.
future life impact on my today, my present, and it wasn't beneficial. And I was thinking, God, and I've noticed a real shift since neutralizing that out with the
Good.
dowsing.
Do you want to share what it was, or is that too personal?
Do you know what I made a note of? Let's see. It was it was something. It's something future. There's a psychic influence that was future, and it was an intradimensional
Okay,
one.
okay,
And it was just inappropriate survival mechanisms was the item that came through from
okay.
intradimensional future self, I guess, or some sort of energies associated with me. Um,
Do you
and
want me to talk to that?
well, yeah, I mean, why don't we talk about sort of, how did you come across this future dowsing? Because it's again, it's a novelty for me in a good way that
Hmm.
we can catch things that are affecting
Hmm.
us today because all time is now, you know, in a
Hmm.
way, in a sense, it's the holographic sort of reality of multi-dimensional everything. So yeah, so that the here and now is affected by not just the past and where
The
we are,
future also.
but also the
The
future.
future.
I
The
mean,
future also.
this is really eye-opening for me,
Oh,
just to sort of
good.
catch it in a great way. Like I've caught something that was affecting my well-being, and it's just been neutral, and I can feel the difference. So you don't
Wonderful.
you don't have to know, and I picked this up in your book. You don't have to know the detail. It's not about analysis,
Necessarily.
not necessarily, but
But you
just
would ask, do I need to know any more than
mm,
that?
mm,
And it would be a yes or a no. If you need to know more, then you keep. But the way I came up with that was that there was an individual, a client, had a problem, and we asked every single question we had, and finally we asked, "Is it a future thing?" He met his future self walking down the road. It was quite weird.
mm,
But let's just as an example, since you shared there was an interdimensional, outdated survival mechanism. Let us say that we are now in human form,
yeah.
but in some future form, you may not be human.
Mm,
You could incarnate as some other type of being, and that type of being, and I find this in a lot of people, not necessarily with the future, but if they have what I call an extra consciousness on them. So I don't use ghost, alien, past life, future life. I say extra consciousness. It's a thing in the field
mm,
that's manipulating.
mm,
If the thing in the field that is manipulating, for example, is not human, it may try to adapt your body systems to support its physiology. So humans who are sick in the body, one thing you would look for, is there an extra consciousness? And will it communicate? And is that a human form? And is it trying to take over the mind and body? And 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 if it is, you want to get that thing off and then restore your blueprint.
yes.
Right? Because they start. Sometimes when I go interdimensional, I'm teaching in person, and I will go into an interdimensional space. My height actually changes. So and my clients, like they're sitting in front of me, and suddenly it's like I've put on high heels or something, or I walk across, and on this side of the room I'm such an height, and it's about an inch or two.
Mm,
That when we're interdimensional, it's all illusion, right? The body's a complete illusion, which is kind of fun.
mm, absolutely.
We act as if it's true, as outlandish as it may sound. Act as if it's true, and that's where your power lies.
Yes, that is it. It's the intention and the magnetic pull of that intention being incredible and limitless.
Yep.
And yeah, and I've noticed this year in particular, when you put a thought out there of a form of a like, oh, that would be nice, even if it's quite casual or, you know, light on the breeze, so to speak. I've seen things come into my lived experience really quickly to do with that,
Well
semi
done.
relaxed thought. And it's just like, wow, the you know, the attraction of just the thought form in a gentle intention, wouldn't that be nice? And then something comes into your
And then it
awareness
comes
literally
in.
the next day, or so it's really speeding up, and just the frequencies around it are just incredible.
Well, is this specific to you, or do you notice it with other people?
I've been sharing it, and other people are noticing a similar pattern in their lives as well, and a more profound sense of connection,
That's good.
a deepening, with the sort of thinning of the veils, if you like, of just the spiritual realms. Just that sense of less separation of them and us. It's more all,
Okay.
all is. It's more that unity consciousness sort of feeling a little bit coming
I
through.
like to take that, and the other side of that is quantum physics,
Yes.
and this attraction business. It's the one might say the collapse of the quantum wave. There's one wave. Quantum physics has been around for 100 years, so normal people have to start understanding it a bit. It's counterintuitive.
Yes.
But what quantum physics tells us is there is one wave in the universe. We're not all little separate things. There is one wave. There's a realm of possibilities. And as we focus with a question, or wouldn't it be nice, with the appropriate electromagnetic focus, we can collapse the quantum wave into physical reality. That's how it's working. And that the dowsing is a really nice amplifier of our thought, collapse of the quantum wave. Because I teach in various cultures, and
Okay.
not all cultures. Christian cult. I grew up in a Christian culture, so it's easy for me to have Christian analogies. But in different cultures, it's not all Christian. They don't all know Shakespeare, so I tend to go to a more science-based explanation of things.
Yes. Yes, that makes sense actually, because a bit like the sort of math side, it's more the sort of music, it's more that universal language, isn't it? That you can say quantum and people will increasingly understand that. And I love you mentioned about Rupert Sheldrake and the sort of, interesting sort of patterns that have been observed with the sort of non-local sort of,
Hmm.
experiments and the connectivity with us all and through this
Hmm. Hmm.
experience.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
amazing.
it's all electromagnetic.
It's and do you see a sort of like a dowsing pendulum or dowsing rod, whatever tool you're using, whether it's a body as well for dowsing? It's a bit like an antenna. It feels like an antenna where you're tuning in to
Yeah, exactly.
those
Exactly.
frequencies.
Yeah, I find the physical tool, a lot of people dose without the tools, but I find my human brain can't focus that well. So the having a tool in your hand is a really excellent way to focus on things.
Mm,
And then you observe, and it's I don't really use the word magic. It's an amplification. So
mm.
when the tool moves, it's an amplification of subtle electromagnetic
Yes.
frequencies in the body,
Yeah.
and that when we are not attached, and this is the path of the spiritual warrior, we're not attached to the outcome. We don't know, we don't care. The
Mm.
truth, the truth, the truth. And then I write my questions down first, because again, it's very hard to, my little brain, I'll just say my little brain, there's so many words in there all the time. But if I type or write the question and
Yeah.
then focus on that, it's like an arrow. The arrow goes in and brings in the result. But I always use a tool, and I always use protocols before I dowse. I never just pick up a tool and
Yes.
dowse.
Yes, absolutely. And again, I love your protocol. It's so accessible and easy to use and follow.
Good. I'm glad you
And
find that.
yeah, and again, your generosity of spirit, Susan, just, people can email you, reach out to you at susan@dowser.ca if
Yeah.
they're interested in getting a copy. It's just so lovely that you offer that out.
Yeah. And
Thank
I
you.
send it out at no charge. So that's
Yeah.
that's part of my service. That's paying it forward. That's the legacy. As we get into elder years, we think, what is our legacy? Have I
Yeah.
done all my work? And I've done my work. I've done what I was meant to do,
Oh,
in terms of all the dosing and the energy. And this is now applied. The stuff I do at the gym, the mind-body connection, the
mm.
ridiculous physical ability I have now. I can show you my biceps.
Hey, love
Like,
it.
what is that? I never had that. I never, I had my trainer. I never knew how. My dad was 45 when I was born, and he never played with us. Like, there was no physicality really in my upbringing.
Okay.
And my trainer the other day, he's teaching me to throw a ball. It's a 10-pound medicine ball, and he's teaching me how to do that with my body. He taught me how to run again. So now that I have grandchildren, I can actually run after my grandchildren. I didn't know how to run. He's
Really?
taught me how to jump. I didn't know how to jump. We forget that. Like, if you can still do jumping jacks, God bless you. But at some point in life, your body doesn't jump anymore.
Wow.
Everybody that's listening, do a jumping jack and see if you can jump. Jump up a step.
Yeah.
And we
It's,
don't even notice. That's the thing. We
no.
don't notice this gradual decay of our physical ability until we can't do it.
Absolutely. That's really fascinating because, again, talking about kids, grandkids, or just generally children, you know, when you see a child skipping,
Yeah,
it's just for joy,
yeah.
and and it's just for the pure pleasure, isn't it? It's just such a lovely thing to go skipping along the street. And I've been skipping with a kid in the neighborhood here,
Oh, good.
and it feels very different to when you're a child and you're like, it's effortless and you can really notice it. And but like you're saying, the sort of jumping and the sort of physical activities,
Hmm.
they can dissipate unless we
Hmm.
pay attention and we connect with that, that physical, like we're here on the earth plane. We're here for this earth reason as well as the soul sort of reason. And you're a lovely sort of living example of how being embodied can be enriching and fun
Yeah.
and empowering and expansive. It's not even like you're getting a second wind. You're just claiming your
No,
strength.
I am getting a second wind because I
Okay.
was crippled. I spent 40 years. I don't want to swear on your channel here, but my hands were claws. I couldn't walk. I was the mom on the couch. My children at 2 and 3, they would play on me. I'd be in bed and they would play on top of me. And I didn't want to be the mom on the couch. My
Mm.
daughter's earliest memory at about 2 is I'm at the doctor's office and they're withdrawing fluid out of my knees and it was right at her eye level. And it's this grotesque first memory she has of this
Oh,
body fluid. So
oh.
it's not like I was an athlete my whole life. I was a mess most of my life, right? I raised my children with splints on my hands. So this is beyond a second wind. It was the it was the wind I never had. Is that fair to say? I've
Yeah.
never said that. I don't know.
Well, you're reclaiming something, right? You're
Yeah,
empowered, and
yeah,
that sort of really pulls at the heartstrings, that sort of experience that you've had, and
yeah.
how you've, as part of your journey, the dowsing expansion that you've developed through and into, Susan, to help you heal yourself. In
It's important to share that, not to, oh my God, I'm having a bad day. It's like I'm having a bad day, and this is what I'm doing about it. Whatever, energetically, body wise,
I
whatever.
love that. I love that. And just from a personal sort of situation here, I'm currently experiencing quite a lot of menopausal symptoms. And even though living well,
Yay.
thinking clean, eating clean,
That's
it's
the worst.
it's not enough. It's like, oh
No,
wow, okay.
it is, oh well, because these are the physical bodies. I gained 20 pounds in the first 5 years after menopause. It's like, and it's really hard. Well, look, I'm not a medical doctor, but
Mm,
anybody in the state of perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause,
mm,
consult with your medical practitioner and see if hormone replacement therapy is right for you.
mm.
When I was growing up and going through it, there was medical studies said no, 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 you can't do HRT. But now a lot of that is debunked.
Yes.
So consult with your doctors and see what you can do, and
Yes.
don't give up.
Absolutely, and I've read the same as well, Susan. That previously oral sort of HRT compared to sort of now topical and patches or whatever people. There's different ways of doing this, and there's sort of bio sort of matching and sort of
Yeah.
compounding pharmacies and sort of functional medicine. There's a whole
Yep.
range of different approaches now, but HRT is not what it once was reported to be. And
That's
it's
right.
quite empowering just to feel like, I can get myself back.
Well, you can get yourself back anyway,
Yeah, I
but
can.
you might not have to gain 20 pounds
Yeah.
and have your hair fall out and everything else that goes with it.
You know what? I'm so grateful for today and this sort of era because it's being discussed. And
Right.
even 5 years ago, it wasn't even a topic. And, it seems to be much more in the public eye at the moment. So, hey, let's imagine somebody finds your website, finds your work, and is thinking about reversing aging or just let's get healthy approach. Let's say, for example, they're feeling menopausal, it's getting too much for me. What do I do about it? Of course, go to see your medical practitioner and see what can be there and how to get the right support in the first instance.
Mm-hmm.
How can somebody from a dowsing perspective with your work sort of self support, let's say, what would you suggest their journey would look or feel like? I know everyone's unique, but how would it feel at work?
Well, we've referred to the protocol a couple of times. So I've been developing that over the last 25 years, and I stand on the backs of all my teachers who have taught me things, and I've put it all in. I stand on the backs of my clients, actually, because having solved my personal stuff, I've now worked with clients, and I find extraordinary things that need to be worked on. So the protocol itself is like the kitchen sink of dowsing.
It is.
And so if folks want to send me an email, I'll send out that free PDF. I'm glad you said it's simple. It's a two-page PDF. And we talk about first balancing the body. Before you start down, before you do anything, you balance the body. You've got water, you've got time. You connect to yourself. You go through various steps of disconnecting non-beneficial energy. So one thing with dowsing, maybe not everybody's familiar with, dowsing is often known as informational. So you get yes, no, or you can also use it to get plus minus. Plus minus, I use that a lot. So it's not just yes, no. So drinking pure water would be a plus 10. Drinking gasoline would be a minus 10. So it's good to fine tune things.
Yes.
So you would do the protocol in the morning before you picked up your pendulum. And I do it in the morning and I do it at night. I do it between every client, or if I'm energetically investigating something, I do it all the time. And people, when they're starting, they say, oh, it's so many words. It's hard. Can't I just abbreviate it? It's like, once you get familiar and good at it, you can shorten it. But first thing in the morning, you should do the whole thing. In an emergency, you can say simply, bless me, or something like that. Or snap your fingers. I ask to be in the most appropriate state to answer these questions. But using the plus minus chart, and plus you need a clear intention of what you're trying to do. If you say I want to be healthy, you need to define what healthy is. Healthy for a 102-year-old woman, or healthy for the age you are now.
Yeah.
Or I want to experience the same level I had at my highest level of health. Or you can do it for finances too. I want to experience, people sometimes, especially for finances, because everybody likes to talk about that, they'll ask for more than enough money, which, there's the element of greed in that. So we would ask for sufficient money to meet my needs and the needs of my family and my community as you're doing it. The thing truly is to be focused on what you want to experience. And then I like to break things down, because we're so intuitive, many of us. Yeah. The ideas, the thoughts all come in so quickly through the right brain. But with my books, I put everything into charts to try to determine what are the physical steps I need to do. So let's say you want to run a marathon, or whatever the goal is, or I want to be able to walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
Or one of my girlfriends the other day, she was traveling. She's my age, 72, and there was a building she wanted to go into, and the step was 12 inches high. And she said, "I can't." She said to herself, "I can't do that." So maybe you just want to. What is it you want to do? I want to be able to walk up the steps of my house and down the steps of my house comfortably, so that I'm not in pain. In my case, my grandchildren are 3 years old. I wanted to be able to run for my grandchildren. So what are the steps on that? So we need to look at our musculature, the physical side of things. We need to look at, we were talking about belief systems before, and there's a place in the brain called the amygdala, which holds emotionally traumatic memories. So with dowsing, a wonderful thing is you can, and I invite people to do this if they want. Do I have any outdated belief systems or non-beneficial belief systems stored anywhere in my body, but particularly the amygdala? And if you get a yes, you can start asking about them. Does my belief system limit my ability to see? Does it limit my ability to walk up steps? Does it limit my ability to have a relationship? And that's the other thing people like to talk about. That let's talk relationships for a second. I've worked with various people who want to attract the correct mate.
Yes.
And so there's the checklist. One of them is one is for whatever the person is, appropriate gender, appropriate geographic location, appropriate age group, appropriate culture. And it doesn't mean it has to be the same, but something that's appropriate for you. So I had a client who was an Asian woman in her 80s who was already married, who found somebody she was intensely attracted to, who lived quite a long way away and was about 25 years younger. So that really isn't supporting, in an earth mission sort of way, it's not really supporting us. I had another client who attracted somebody, but he was a homeless person living in a tent on the beach, and he wanted to move in with her. So I don't know what his thing was, but attract somebody who is compatible with you, who meets your needs now and into the future. Anyway, there's like how does one approach it? One identifies the problem one is trying to solve, and then looking, is the source of the problem, not the symptom of the problem, is the source of the problem physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, or energetic?
Yes.
And if it's a physical source, then that's much easier to deal with. For example, a stomach ache. Oh, I shouldn't have eaten the third piece of pizza, I'll feel better in the morning. But if the stomach ache is related to a mental construct about a future worry, then one has to look, well, what is that future worry? Is it my responsibility? Do I need to worry about it? What can I do today to take steps to solve the problem, solve the situation so it doesn't become a problem? Anyway, it's work, right? We don't just sit around wishing. There was the law of attraction out years ago when people would do these message boards, but it didn't seem to require action. So action plus intention equals miracles. So decide what miracle you want, set your intention, and take the appropriate actions.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
Action plus intention equals
miracles.
Miracles.
Yeah.
Wow. It's true. It's so
yeah.
true.
Yeah. And also the belief you act. If you don't believe it's possible, act as if you can. It's
Absolutely.
as if I could do this. I was teaching a class one day, and we were doing the protocol, and an older man, probably younger than me at this point, but he came in with a cane, and he was limping, and we did the protocol, and and then we went outside, and we were doing some field work, earth energy field work, and he was able to, when he came back in, he did not need the cane anymore. He could walk normally. And I asked him how he had done that, because we hadn't set out to do that. And he said, I just knew I was walking in Jesus' footsteps. So that was a belief system. So maybe he believed he was crippled, and then somehow he was able to, going into nature and being present in his own body and feeling his own spiritual support and walking in Jesus' footsteps. Or as my colleague, now gone, many horses, leave beautiful footprints for the children to follow. What kind of footprints is this, that my kids are going to see?
Yeah.
You've got to be pristine all the time.
That's stunning, Susan. When you're talking about this and the beliefs and the sort of aha moments you're having in workshops or with clients, it reminds me a little bit of some of the work I've done where somebody wants something. And one of my dowsing check-ins is, okay, does their conscious mind want this thing? Does their subconscious mind also want the same thing? does their energy field also desire the same thing? And there's often one that's out. And dowsing can help realign, and you can talk to directly to the subconscious mind in that sort of more deep voice, or calm state, or talk in symbols or whatever. You can do the work to align that intention.
Exactly.
And sometimes when it's out and somebody doesn't realize, it can lead to self-sabotage. So
Exactly.
I'm just wondering, is there any sort of recommendation you have for how people can catch that stuff behind the blinkers, let's say, that we don't know is there?
The dosing is a great way to do that. An example of what you're saying is people don't try because they're afraid of failure. So very talented people, and they have the potential, but they don't want to fail. So it's always, the symptom is the person is not doing X. The person is not trying. So we don't look at the symptom, but we could ask, what is the source of the symptom that prevents the individual from doing X, Y, Z, going to the gym, keeping a job, having relationships? What is the source of that? And then we look, is it physical, mental, spiritual, emotional? But as you say, the subconscious, the unconscious, the stuff stored in the amygdala, the superconscious, people, especially during the COVID times, there was the mass consciousness or the superconsciousness that, we're all going to die of COVID or whatever. I remember when, maybe some other people do, when there was Princess Diana's funeral, and the entire world shared a consciousness. That's an example, that the Heart Math Institute talks about that too. If we can all get on the same page. Or when His Holiness the Dalai Lama came to Toronto about 20 years ago and did a 2-week initiation, crime rate went down in the city of Toronto. So mass consciousness can be harnessed in a beneficial way, but if we fall into the non-beneficial aspects of mass consciousness, now I'm getting older, so I'm going to be sick, or everybody in my town, nobody, in Canada, and I think this is true in many places, many of our leaders came from small towns that nobody ever came from. Abraham Lincoln in the States. It's like, nobody from my town ever amounted to anything, so I won't either. I won't even try. I won't go to university. So we're limited by those sorts of beliefs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if we can figure out what is the source of the fear, and it's mostly fear-based. I think humans, we're here. What my thought about why we're here as humans, it's to learn how to handle pain, basically. So those blessed people who live a long time, they learned how to handle pain in their earlier years. Either, the war, the depression, the bad times, whatever they were, they learned how to handle pain and rebuild. Or there's a song, I get back up. Well, I get knocked down, but I get back up again. Nothing's going to hold me down. Who's that? Chumbawamba.
Oh, yes, I remember that song.
Knocked down, but I get up again. Nothing's going to hold me down. Chumbawamba. That's a great thing. We get knocked down every single day. Yeah. You walk out the door and somebody says something rude. Some kids the other day, I was babysitting my grandchild on the playground. One of the other 3-year-olds called me a zombie, and they all ran away from me. And I felt really sad. And I thought, if I feel sad that a 3-year-old called me a zombie, how do all the other young people, how do they react to that? And I flashed back to when I was a kid and I called people names, and how horrible. So we get knocked down every moment. But as my mother used to say, I don't know how to give up. So even if you feel like giving up, just act as if you can get up. When I was really bad with arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and I still had a job, I would say, just get out of bed, just have a shower, just put my clothes on, just have something to eat, just get in the car, just go in the office. It was like so hard. It was really hard. But that's what we're here doing as humans. We're learning how to deal with adversity. Yes. And if you can find, your path, if you can find your earth mission and your soul mission and align with that, it's like, dear God, give me the resources and health so that I can help whatever needs to be helped, then it's amazing how the universe will support that. Because, the other realms, they can't pick up a pen. The angels can't pick up pens and make, and write things. So we are the avatars. We are the avatars for the
Yes,
other realms. So just make sure that you're the avatar for beneficial energy.
that's it. What a wonderful piece of guidance you've shared with us, Susan. You
Thank
know,
you.
it's that there have been so many gems, like golden gems, that you've dropped into the conversation, from
Thank
your
you.
teachers, from your own wisdom.
Yeah.
And, you're paying it forward, like you're saying. So, there's so much shared sort of beautiful energy.
Thank
I
you.
really, really appreciate it that
Thank you.
you've come and connected with this. And
Thank
what
you.
an inspiration you're sharing with us as the dowsing community and beyond. Anything is possible.
Hmm. Hmm.
Your hands being claws to being a world champion rower.
I know, it's amazing. And now my audience is not just the dowsers. It's the young and old people at the gym. I'm about the oldest person at the gym. And I'm in there beside the men pulling like ridiculous weights. And people just look at me. It's like, how is this possible? So it's demonstrating just to regular people now that what is possible, or running down the street or whatever it is. We're on the spiritual journey. We're here as humans having a spiritual journey. But if we can harness what we know and what we bring in from the other realms and then share it, bring it forward, when we do that, we are also strengthened. Heal me if there's anything wrong and give me the wisdom to share. Let me help people be stronger. And we can't be selfish. There's some practitioners in all fields who have that sort of greedy element to it, and that kind of backfires eventually. If we operate from a spirit of greed, and back in the day, when after 20 years of having arthritis, I said, it's always, "Dear God, heal me."
Yes.
For years I said that. I tried having, it's 20 years, I have an anniversary, we'll complete the journey. That didn't work. But I was using a message chart in those days, the little ABC chart, which can be difficult to use. But in this case, I was using it, and I said, "Dear God, heal me." And then the little message came back, "Not as long as you ask." And it's like, oh my God, I was asking for me. Heal me. It's like, not as long as you ask. When you say heal me so I could be of service, then it all started healing up. That's huge, right?
Oh, that's immense.
Yeah, yeah, that's the healing journey. No, don't ask to heal yourself, because that's a greedy element. Heal me so I can look after my grandchildren. Heal me so I can pick flowers. Heal me so I can, do whatever it is. Whatever it is, just so I can be of service. Heal me so I can be of service.
That reminds me that is a kind of reciprocal energy,
Yeah,
the sort of the cycle, the Ouroboros, that whole thing,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
the rhythms of nature expanding. And it reminds me, there was a Buddhist nun, and she said something so profound. It really stayed with me. She was talking about, if you have things that you want to receive or have, and you hold on to them,
Hmm.
your hand is not open to receive.
That's a good one.
And it reminds me, when you speak like that, Susan, of that same concept, that
Hmm.
heal me so that I can be of service, or help me get this, or, obtain this level of consciousness or ability of whatever,
Hmm.
so that I can be of service.
That's the
That's
key.
that's the key to
Yep,
success in this,
yep.
because you're right, and you can feel that with certain practitioners, or sort of speakers, talking heads, or just people in general business. You can feel it when it's pinchy. You can
Yep,
sense it, and everyone knows
yep,
whether it's authentic or not. You just know on the
yep,
body level, some
yep.
intuitive sense. But when somebody is genuinely being that gift of kindness and sharing and being of service, the energy feels infinite, doesn't it? It feels like
Hmm.
there's no end to this. This is the
Hmm.
world of limitless possibility again.
Hmm. It's kind of a Taurus, you put out the good stuff and the good stuff comes back in, like the donut
I
shape.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, concur so strongly with that because I'm very interested in spiral energies and the toroidal
Hmm.
field and the obviously the flower of
Exactly.
life and everything being
Yep.
connected. So that
Hmm.
really speaks to, my being. So thank you so
Hmm. Wonderful.
Wow. You know, yeah, I think you're an inspiration, Susan. You really are. You know, what you're
Thank you.
doing, how you are, where you've come from, what you've
Hmm.
learned, what you've shared. It's a marvel. It really is, and a miracle. Your action and intention. You're a living miracle right
Well,
here.
thank you. Thank you. That's I've asked for that so that I can share it.
Yeah,
Like I'm the poster child for this stuff.
great. You're doing
Yeah.
you're doing the job. You're
Yeah.
doing a good
Yeah.
job.
But it's without ego too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my teachers have been amazing. And my opportunities, I was setting intention. I'll just speak to that for a sec. Back in, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I set the intention. I wanted to travel the world, teach dowsing, and make money. And within 3 months, I had an invitation to teach in the Middle East. And I was over there within 6 months, probably. And
Wow.
it was huge. And if when we set here's another important part. When you set the intention, and it's given to you no matter how big it appears to be, oh, I'm not worthy, you need to act on it. And the hardest affirmation that I find people have, and I invite folks watching, I invite you to check this, see if you get a yes. I am worthy of respect, love, and money. And people have trouble with that. It took me about 10 years for the money part. I'm worthy of respect, love, and money.
Mm.
And if you can sort those three things out, then life is much easier.
It is. It's more in balance.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you can give as well as receive.
yeah,
There's both in balance.
yeah.
It's
And
lovely.
other people are worthy. And I did est way back in the ancient times. If you're familiar with that, it was an old self-help thing,
Mm.
self-help program. I don't think it exists anymore. It turned into something else. And as a young person, I always thought I was special and different because I was clairsentient and I really didn't fit in.
Yeah.
But from that program, I learned I used to be different. Now I'm the same. And that brought me into a commonality just with everybody, right? Like I remember in those days, we did face to face with somebody you didn't know, knee to knee, and you would have to express yourself to them, which was terrifying. And I can't remember what the exercise was, but at the end of that little exercise, the other woman said, I was so frightened of you. She was terrified. And I thought, well, I was terrified. She was terrified. We're all terrified. you know, Fear is this common thing. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to be stupid. I don't want, whatever it is. But I used to be different, but now I'm the same. So now it's the detached compassion. We're all just here on the earth. We're all just here as human beings, discovering how to deal with pain, which is a lot of what we do. And if you learn how to deal with those hardships, like your granny and my mom, you'll live a long time. And my mom used to say, I don't know how to give up. In the last day of her life, she said, I can't do this anymore. And I said, you don't have to. And she died.
Beautiful.
So it's really something.
Yeah, that's powerful as well. Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, thank you for sharing that, Susan. That's so, so stunning. And wow, yeah. I feel like there's so much here. It's there's so many pieces of wonderful joining up of dots. You can go whichever way you please, whatever feels
Hmm.
right. You can tune
Hmm.
into your soul purpose, your earth mission,
Hmm.
and you can align to that, set your intentions, take action so that you can be of service in whichever
Right?
way you're called, and just play for fun, enjoy what
Yeah.
happens,
There it
you know,
is.
and be grateful along the way.
Right? You
Yeah.
summed it up in like 10 seconds. That's what it is. That's the entire message. I had to write all those books, all these workshops. And that's what it is.
but it is a message, but it's also about the journey, isn't it? You know,
Hmm.
the stories that we weave because of our life path is they're so enriching, and they connect us all together. That story about Diana and her funeral, these things connect our hearts together so that we know we're not alone.
Hmm. That's so important. We are not alone.
Mm,
Even if you live alone and you feel alone, we are connected. My cousin was schizophrenic,
mm,
and he would go for and get a Coke every single day, right? He would have a pattern. So if you feel alone, you got to get out of the house,
yeah,
do something,
yeah.
help out something, go somewhere, go to the library, even if you don't have money, go for a walk.
Mm,
Anyway, there's it's hard and it's easy. As
yeah.
my husband says, the hardest thing is when you go out of the house, do I turn left or right? That's the hardest decision.
That's a good place to be, to be
Yeah,
fair. That's
yeah,
this decision is brilliant. Oh,
yeah.
what would you say to just to sort of close out? What would you say to somebody just starting out on their dowsing journey, Susan, for for what to sort of look for, how to be, what to expand into? Because I'm always conscious that if I'm thinking of a younger Alex or maybe a younger Susan, what would you say to somebody just starting
Right.
out? Because I think it's so
Okay.
helpful to get a bit of navigational guidance
Right.
sometimes.
Well, the main thing with dosing is to practice.
Mhm.
And for years and years and years, we have all been trying to figure out how to get the younger people involved.
Mm.
And we've had like children's programs, but and we invite, younger people, but really it seems people don't find dowsing until they're in a physical or emotional crisis. Because in your 20s, your 30s, we're out there having families, we're getting jobs, we're getting kicked around. And finally, at a certain point, and it's probably mid-30s for a lot of people, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. There must be there must be more. There must be more to this.
Mm.
And so for the people who don't come in crisis, I mean, yay for you, that's great. The thing is, when you come in crisis, then there's the motivation. I have to figure this out. So for me, being crippled, I didn't want to be the mom on the couch. I had to figure it out. And it's harder for younger people to get that motivation. Curiosity doesn't do it. And I'd like to say that people who experiment or play around with different metaphysical things, take your weekend workshops in I don't want to say any particular modality, but I'll say a lot of my clients are people who have dabbled in practices that have opened up energy portals and consciousness and all the rest of it. I'd say be careful what you wish for starting out. Be rigorous in your practice. Take nothing for granted. Assume nothing.
Mm.
Keep your left brain going along with your right brain.
Mm.
And I have a ton of books and workshops and all the rest of that. So if you're desperate, you can do some of those. I went around the world teaching, and then I taught all across. I taught everywhere, big classes, small classes, and during the COVID time, we couldn't do that anymore. So I taught everything online on Zoom. So I have a suite of workshops they're about 2.5, 3 hours long, and I have nothing more to say. That's it.
You're
If you
done.
want to know, boom. I got tired of repeating myself. I do personal consulting now, of
Mm.
course, for those who want it.
Mm.
I'm in
That's perfect.
Toronto area, Eastern Time Zone.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, because you're right. There's a call to action. It's like you're saying. There's a crisis or something. You come to dowsing because there's a need, and it's come into your conscious awareness, and also, dipping your toes into various different modalities is all well and good, as long as the facilitator or teacher knows about energy hygiene.
Well, often they don't.
They
That's the
don't.
problem.
Yeah.
One of the things you can do is look at the teacher and say, does that look like a person who understands what they're teaching?
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
know?
Absolutely.
But the other big thing, of course, is find community. So, for example, what you're doing is you're creating an online community, and there are other online communities. But if somebody starting out can find a friend or a colleague or somebody to sit down with in person, then that shared energy is safer too. And then you get three people. I think this is in the Bible. If you get three people and you've got a congregation. I don't know the quote on that. But if you get three people together, or at least one other, and practice together and talk about, having someone to talk about this stuff with is important, because our partners, our families, our friends will think we're crazy. When I first started going public with this, one of my close friends said, "Have you considered seeing a counselor?" And it's like, but if you don't experience it, like, I'm also clairsentient, so I hear, see various things. And when my kids came in also, they were able to see things. And I thought, am I going to take my 3-year-old child to the doctor? Because what's the doctor going to do? Tell them they need medication or something. So if for children and grandchildren, because there's lots of these little guys now who are still able to process, listen to what they're saying, these little ones, when they tell you they see whatever, or for the dying, oh, there's Uncle Bob in the corner, and don't say there's nobody there. Say, well, how's Uncle Bob doing? Or for the little children. I took my son. My son was afraid to go in the basement at about 4, maybe. He says, there's things down there. And I said, well, show me. And then he took me down and he pointed in 3 different places. There, and there. So, oh my goodness. So whatever the little children tell you, listen to that.
Yes.
And don't tell them it's not there. The grandchildren, to say, tell me more.
Be curious. Be curious. Yeah. Be open-hearted. Yeah.
Don't judge.
Yeah. And I think that's the same thing with the dowsing approach, isn't it, Susan? Where we're curious, but we don't have an attachment to the outcome.
Exactly.
We don't need to fix things. We can allow things to work through us, but we're not the fixer, solution provider.
That is exactly right. And that's how we stay healthy. Also, we recognize that the energies going through us are not us. And I always say to my clients, I'm not doing anything. We are having a conversation, and we're bringing in the other realms, and we're just having a look at everything. And then if you try to heal, by the way, the sigh is the change in brainwave state. I get excited. But if you try with your own energy to heal somebody, then very often people will take on the problem. So it's not our energy that heals. It's the energy that we can direct here and there. And so my protocol also includes an ongoing energy system that automatically adjusts to create, recognize, facilitate, maintain ongoing successful outcomes for myself and in my territory. So, but it's never new.
No.
That's ego. We don't care. We don't care. My clients don't like it when I say that. I don't care about you. But I will look at the energy and tell you what I see.
Yeah. That compassionate sort of detachment is
compassionate detachment.
Healthy, and the ego, when it's more important in the dowsing world or medical world or wherever somebody is working, it's more important for them to be right. That's a sign of the ego, the attachment to the sort of glory or the sort of solution outcome. That's going to be wobbly ground, isn't it? We just need to stay.
It's wobbly ground,
neutral,
and then it leads to comes back and bites you.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it doesn't bite you in this lifetime, it bites you in another lifetime.
Something will happen.
It will happen, and we don't ever need to know. We don't need to know about revenge or when it happens or who does it. We don't have to have anything to do with that. There's an expression over here, God bless you. And it's like, God bless you with the most appropriate energies that you deserve. It's like a blessing and a curse, right? That we don't judge, but eventually there will be judgment. Not us. We just do the best we can with what we have, where we are.
We do. On that wonderful note, thank you so much, Susan.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you in person. It feels like in person.
Yeah, it does.
And I hope to see you around the universe. And
See you
and
around. Yeah, yeah.
thank
Hopefully, are you going to be traveling around anywhere, or are you just simply being where you are?
Well, I do travel. I was in Göbekli Tepe. Don't get me started on travels, but I'm still visiting the ancient sites and amalgamating the ancient energies. So I go physically from mountain to ocean to whatever, and commit to integrate these energies. We take the wisdom from the past
Mm,
and integrate it, and then bring it out again. So,
mm.
but I don't have any travel dosing sessions booked at this point. Maybe no. I used to go to Japan a lot, but now we just do it on Zoom. So
Yeah, here you are. Here we are.
here we are. And thank you so much for all the work that you're doing and creating this channel and providing an opportunity to share the information and to bring more people into the practice. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I really appreciate that. It's just such a wonderful world, dowsing. It's just, again, it's so full of limitless possibility and joy and creativity and
Hmm.
magic as well. Even though the dowsing itself, like you say, is not magic, it's simply electromagnetic and
It's
intention.
it's
And
it's quantum physics. It's the collapse of the quantum wave. We create our own reality.
here we are. Thank you.
Thank you.